Today, you need to be turning in those perception student notes. And then what we're going to be working on today is just a perception activity. So we've been talking a lot about perception, and we're going to do 2 activities today. One of the activities we'll get like halfway through it, and then we'll save it for tomorrow. But it's basically to kind of like allow you to see, okay, this is how perception really works. Garen and Molly, will y'all split this and like give two pieces of paper to every table? Thank you very much. Okay, so my virtual students, I don't have a way of you all actually doing this. So if y'all don't mind just hanging tight and just watching while people do this, that'd be awesome. But you will be able to do the second activity. Yeah. Okay. So here's what I'm going to ask you to do. I need 4 people at every table. And then with those 4 people, you're going to be split into partners. Here's what we're going to do. Those of you who are in the middle, okay, your directions are going to be a little bit different. So if you are facing, like if you're at the side of the table that's facing this wall, y'all are going to be drawing. So take that piece of paper that they just passed out, get out a pencil. If you're in these middle tables, whoever's drawing, just face that way. Sounds good? All right, fantastic. All right, everybody who's facing the actual board, y'all are going to be describing the image that you see as your partner sketches it. This is a lot like that activity that we did when we were doing our sender-receiver model. So the only difference is you can actually say what's in the picture now. So if there's a dog in the picture, you can literally say, okay, you're going to draw a dog. Like you're not limited to just shapes this time. Okay? So basically, if you are the one facing the screen, you're going to describe the image in as much detail as possible. Now, artwork does not matter. If you can't draw a person and your person is a stick figure, that's fine. You just need to make sure that you're paying attention to that detail that your partner's telling you. Okay. Okay. Are y'all ready?
Wait.
So if you're drawing, make sure you're not looking at the board.
I'm looking at
All right, here we go. Ready, set, go. I'll only give y'all 5 minutes to do this. So I'm going to ask you a series of questions because this is going to pertain to perception and how you, the person who is describing the picture, perceived the picture. Okay? So raise your hands. How many of you drew a train coming out of the fireplace? Okay. So only a couple of y'all. So did y'all just draw a train coming out of a wall? For those of you who didn't?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Raise your hands.
Oh, like you mean like an actual fireplace or just like the in-between memories?
Like it was coming out of the fireplace.
Oh no, I drew a wall.
Okay. All right. How many of you referenced smoke or steam in your illustration? So you had, like, you actually saw the smoke coming out of the train there.
Yeah.
Good. All right. Who articulated to their partner that there are no tracks under the train?
He did after I drew it.
Like you literally had to say, okay, you're going to draw a train, but there's no tracks.
I didn't tell
Good.
him not to.
Okay. Who noticed and articulated that there is no fire in the fireplace?
Yeah, he said that.
Okay. Very, very good. How many of you mentioned the wood grain on the floor? So you told them to draw a wood floor. Yes, you're supposed to draw the whole picture.
And you gave us 5 minutes to draw that?
Yep. Okay. I wasn't expecting like artwork. I was expecting just drawing.
Expecting this?
Exactly. Okay. All right. How many of y'all, raising your hands, mentioned the wainscoting on the wall, which is like that little brown panel?
The what?
No.
Oh, this.
That wainscoting. If you didn't say wainscoting, it doesn't matter. That's what it's called, but okay. But if you were describing it, that's fine too. Okay, how many of you mentioned the mantle on the fireplace? Because not all fireplaces have mantles. It's like that shelf that's on the top. Very, very good. Okay. Who mentioned the mirror? Raise your hand. Y'all got the mirror? Who mentioned the mirror? All right. Who mentioned the candlesticks? Good. Who mentions the candlestick's reflection in the mirror? Okay.
Who really got that far?
How many of you said that there were no candles in the candlesticks? Good. Okay. All right. This one's for the really observant people out there. Who mentioned the time?
I thought it would be opposite way.
All right. So with this whole entire activity, so call y'all back in 3. Call you back in 2. Oh, good job. We won't do 1. Okay. So we're going to talk about the pertinent negative. This is what this whole entire activity was here to explain to you, is the pertinent negative, which is defined as saying what isn't there in addition to what is there, to give a more accurate depiction of what you're looking at. So what that means is if you were telling your partner to draw a fireplace, well, when I think of a fireplace, guess what I'm going to put in the fireplace? Fire. So you have to be able to tell your partner, oh, we're going to draw a fireplace, but there's no fire in it. Okay? Or there's nothing in it at all, like there's no wood or anything. If you're going to draw a candlestick, okay, make sure you're telling them you're going to draw a candlestick with no candles in it, or a train with no tracks. Does that make sense? So we're going to, how many of y'all drew something in your picture that wasn't there? So like how many, like did anybody draw a fire? Anybody draw a candle?
I drew a candle.
We drew candles, okay? Did anybody draw wood in the fireplace?
No, we didn't, Josh.
Got it. All right. Fantastic. So if you drew those candles or if you drew any of those things, saying what's not there would have prevented this mistake. Just saying. So we're going to watch this video. This woman's going to explain this. She's going to give us more examples of how the pertinent negative actually works in real life. So pay attention.
So the pertinent negative is this wonderful concept that gives us a broader way of looking at something. Instead of looking at something like this, you look at it like this. And here's the example, an example of how you apply that in the real world. The pertinent negative in a medical situation is when someone comes into the emergency room and they have all the symptoms, it appears to the physician, they have all the symptoms of pneumonia. Pneumonia has 3 symptoms. Symptom 1 is present, symptom 2 is present. But if symptom 3 is absent, it's the pertinent negative. You have to say symptom 3 is not there, therefore it's not pneumonia. So in the real world, outside of medicine, how can we use this? If we have an expectation of someone's behavior, you expect them to behave a certain way, and then they don't, you need to say it didn't happen. You're evaluating someone on the job. Well, you did A, B, and C very well, but you didn't do D, E, and F. So it's looking at the affirmative and looking at the negative. And the pertinent negative is a wonderful tool. Missing persons cases. You go to their homes. What's not there? The cell phone's not there. The keys are not there. The wallet is not there. You're going to have a very different search for that person if those things were present instead of absent. So this Magritte painting gives us this great opportunity to talk about not just what we see, but what we don't see, to give the person who can't see what we see a much more accurate description of what they're looking at.
So, especially with that last example that she gave, with that last example that she gave of the missing persons, okay, if somebody's missing, but they had like their keys, their cell phone, and their wallet are also missing, what does that mean?
Left on purpose.
That they probably left on purpose. So you're going to have a totally different search party out for that person if they had those things there. Okay.
I mean, the person could have been smart. The person that they could have been real smart and took all that. So then they took it.
I mean, but it kind of narrows it down a little bit.
All
right. So this artwork that we just did is just a reminder of how much detail is around us that we don't register and how we can be more conscious of our perceptions. Some of y'all did really, really well at this. That's because you probably have a pretty good handle on perception. Some of you didn't do very well on this. That's probably because you're not paying attention to everything around you. All right? So the next thing that we're going to talk about, this is my friend's car. It's a Nissan Cube. I think it's a Nissan, but it's one of those cube cars. Yeah, this is my friend's car. Okay, so she bought this car, and before she bought this car, I had never seen it before. I didn't know that this car existed, never seen it on the highway, never seen it on the road, did not ever see it. But as soon as she bought this car, I started seeing it everywhere. Okay, so as soon as she bought it, it was like all of a sudden my eyes were opened and they just started appearing everywhere. Okay, have y'all ever had something like this happen to you?
Music.
Okay, so with music, I get that. Yeah, I can totally see that. Anybody else have one? Yeah?
I guess like identifying identifying wildlife. Like if you don't know what it is, you're not gonna see it, but if you know what it is, you're gonna find it.
Yeah, yes.
Like words.
Words, yeah, you start hearing words more. Okay. So another example of this, y'all know that I love turtles, right? So I didn't always have a really strange fascination for turtles until probably about high school. Before high school, I didn't see turtles very much. I wasn't looking for them or nothing like that. But now that I have this really weird fascination for them, okay, I see them everywhere. Okay, so now it doesn't have to be an actual live turtle. It can just be turtle stuff. Okay, but I see them everywhere now. And it's gotten to a point where my mom will like make fun of me because it doesn't matter where we go, I'm going to find turtle something. So like I've literally gone to like some podunk gas station in the middle of nowhere and found turtle stuff there. Okay, that's because I like it so much that now I'm looking for them. I'm actively looking for them. So this phenomenon that I'm talking about is actually called the Baader-Meinhof phenomenon. So if you're having a hard time remembering that name, just think of it as the frequency illusion. If that's easier for you to remember. It's also known as the frequency illusion. Y'all make sure that you're paying attention, please. Y'all stop. It's coronavirus. Y'all shouldn't be touching. Okay. So basically what this phenomenon means is once you see or learn something new, it actually keeps appearing everywhere. So now that I've talked to y'all about nonverbal communication, you're probably seeing it everywhere now. You can probably see that I overuse my hands a lot when I talk. Okay. Or I think even Molly said something when this woman was speaking, like she was going like this the whole time because now she's like learning to read those nonverbal communications. Okay. Or like you watched the debates last night and you're looking at body language. Okay. Now that you've learned about it, it's everywhere. And now you're starting to notice it more. So the origin of this phenomenon, it was actually, quiet please. So the origin of the phenomenon's name is actually an example of the phenomenon itself. The person who named the phenomenon heard two mentions of the German terrorist group Baader-Meinhof, and then they came up with the name of the phenomenon. So they heard about this terrorist group, Baader-Meinhof, And once they heard it, they couldn't stop hearing it. So people kept on talking about it. It popped up a lot more in their lives. And so they named this phenomenon after them. Okay? So again, the thing you think is new has always been there. You just didn't have a reason to pay attention to it before. So with my friend, when she got her new car, I didn't have a reason to pay attention to that specific car until she got it. Because now, like, anytime I see one of those cars, I'm like, is that her? Okay. But before, I didn't notice them because I didn't have a reason to. This is also where selective attention comes into play. So y'all remember that little basketball passing game with the gorilla, the video we watched yesterday? Okay. That's where that comes into play. You have that selective attention now. Now that I know that that car is out there, my selective attention is going to click anytime I see it. Can you think of an example from your life where the Baader-Meinhof phenomenon has happened? Some of y'all have already told me a couple. Okay, does anybody have any new ones? Yeah.
Cardinals.
The Cardinals? You see them everywhere now?
Yeah, I live like right next to a forest, and before that, I just never saw
You live in a forest?
But
No,
now,
next to.
but now you see them all
Now
the
that
time.
I know what a cardinal looks like down to the detail, I see it just everywhere.
Everywhere. Yeah.
I don't.
Cool. All right. So now we're going to talk about Johari window. This is going to be our second activity. Before we can do the activity, I need to explain it to you first. So you have that first window pane. Think of it as a window, right? So that first window pane it says open self. That's what it's labeled as, is open self. That window pane contains all that information about you that both you and other people know. So for example, other people might think that I'm sarcastic, but I also purposely act sarcastic. So I know I'm sarcastic and other people know that I'm sarcastic. So that's going to go into that open self box. Okay? Does that make sense? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Then we're going to go on to the blind self. Okay? In this nice little window pane, you have information about you that you don't know, but others do. So let's say that you're my boss and you know that I'm getting fired next week. Well, I don't know that. I'm blind to it. This is also like how other people perceive you. You don't know how other people perceive you, so you're going to be blind to that information. That third window pane is your hidden self. This is what you hide from other people. It's information about you that you know, but others don't know. So for example, I like to be private, and so maybe I don't disclose who I elect in elections.
Well,
Okay.
right,
Well.
so.
Well,
Okay, that's just an example. All right. So this is like the things that you do that you don't want other people to know, that you keep private and other people don't know about you. Okay. The last window pane is your unknown self. This is information about you that neither you nor other people know. So a good example of this is
If you sleep talk and you sleep by yourself.
that could be it. An example of this, though, might be the way you act when you find out that somebody you know was in a terrible accident and died in a terrible accident. Now, you don't know how you're going to act in that situation, nor does anybody who knows you know how you're going to act in that situation. I actually had this happen to me this past summer. They didn't die in a terrible accident, but my grandma died. So this is the first time I've ever gone to a funeral, my first funeral experience. I go there, I have no idea how I'm going to act. Neither does any of my family. So they're like watching me the whole entire time to make sure that I don't freak out, right? So when we're at that funeral, okay, everybody's crying and it's super, super quiet, like this quiet. Okay, all you're hearing is just people sniffling and crying and all that kind of stuff. So I feel like it's awkward. So I make a joke and I go, well, she looks real pretty. And I have that weird face. So I'm that one person that makes jokes at funerals, apparently. But that was unknown to me until I actually lived that.
Did anyone laugh?
Yeah, they did. They all laughed.
Did you just wait?
No, they all laughed. They were like, "Ah, that's funny." Like, she does look pretty.
I've been to like 3 funerals and I've made a joke every single one.
You made a joke at every single one of them. Yeah, I'm that person apparently.
Casket, I was like, why is this ice?
Yeah. So I did have a moment though where I literally thought that my grandma opened her eyes because we had her like wear her glasses. So like the light reflected off of her glasses, and so I like jumped 10 feet in the air, and I was like, ah!
No, I was just scared of being in like a funeral home.
This way.
Yeah.
I was bugging the-
Okay, so go to the next slide. This is where we're beginning our activity. You have to be on the slides in order to do this, so you can click on this link here. So this link is my personal Johari window, and if you click on it, I want you to pick 5 words out of this list that describes me. So y'all are evaluating me. I'll give y'all like 2 minutes to do this, and then we'll kind of see what my results are.
What's the link?
So are you on the PowerPoint? It's right here.
Yeah, it's taking forever to load the.
So this is it. Yeah.
Absolutely.
5 words. Y'all click them. Yeah, click them.
Really?
Yeah.
Why? You're why? Religious. You're religious.
Just 5. Yeah. Just pick 5.
Just wait, are you a Christian?
Do you perceive me as one?
I don't know.
I can't help you with it. You gotta just tell me what you think of it.
I have 5.
Nervous. You're always nervous. You're nervous that I'm gonna do something horrible.
Who's Johari and why does he have so many windows?
Oh, I think. No.
No, you don't have to name. It can be anonymous.
Well, but you know.
Huh? All right. When you're done, it's gonna show that box on like what people have said so far. I'm gonna give y'all like 1 more minute to do this, and then I'll share it and I'll find out what y'all think of me.
You're very powerful. Power.
Power.
She's the fastest flyer I know. I did 3 of your known self ones.
Nice.
Can I click all of them?
No,
I mean,
I am not all of them.
I'm every single one of them.
Which one?
Which ones are you not?
Huh?
Which ones are you
She's
not?
not shy.
I am shy. When I'm in groups of people, I don't talk. I'm more of an observer. I observe.
What's another one?
Organized.
Your biggest percentage is energetic economy.
Don't do that.
All right. So I'm gonna look at these results real quick. See what y'all think of me. Okay. Man, this is a lot. Okay. So when I did this, when I created this window, now these are the things that I know myself. I know that I'm caring. I know that I'm dependable. I know that I'm a happy person. I know that I'm observant, and I know that I can be silly sometimes. Okay? This is what you all told me. Man, I'm a lot of things, apparently. So y'all said that I'm accepting, adaptable, bold, calm, cheerful, clever, confident, energetic, extroverted, friendly, giving. Ooh, giving. I don't feel like I'm giving y'all anything, but thanks.
Give us bad grades. Giving us a
I
good
give y'all
class.
knowledge, I guess. Okay? I'm helpful, intelligent, introverted.
Nope.
Okay, not really. Kind, knowledgeable, logical, loving, modest, nervous, middle, I guess. exhibit religious. I don't feel like I exhibit religious characteristics, but okay.
Hunter.
Spontaneous. Ooh, who put that on tense?
10? You are very 10.
Like tense person. Fantastic. All right. Oh, and I'm witty. Oh, I don't feel like I'm witty.
What do you mean?
So here's my facade.
What do you mean?
So this is what I know, but y'all don't know. I'm very reflective. I reflect on myself and my actions a lot. Okay? So you might not know that about me. And then our unknown here, this is what nobody seems to have picked these words for me. So these are unknown to me.
Yeah, shy is definitely not one of your.
I am shy though.
No. Not in front of us.
Not in front of y'all because I have a personality that I take over when I'm in front of y'all. You know you have different personalities with different people. Yeah, I'm actually pretty shy. All right, so tomorrow we are actually going to make our own Johari windows, and then you're gonna get other people to like fill it out for you. So be prepared for that tomorrow. We have 5 minutes left in class, so y'all can pack yourselves up. Virtual kids, y'all may leave. Good to go. Bye.